All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of the John Gill Podcast Show. We are super excited to announce Vince Cordos, president of Cordos Development, is in the studio. And we want to go ahead and thank our sponsors, Element Studios. That's EL3MENT Studios. You can find them at elementstudios.com. They're a full-service media production company based here in Chicago and servicing the surrounding suburbs. So go ahead and reach them. You can find them also on Instagram at Element Studios as well. So, Vince, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you being here today.
You're welcome.
How was your day? Tell me.
Good.
Awesome.
Busy day today.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us about yourself and about the company. Well, let's start with the company.
Well, I have
Cordos
multiple
Development.
companies.
Let's start
I have
with
a few
Cordos.
companies.
Okay.
So Cordos Development is a construction and development company based out of Chicago. Opened up in 2002. We've been doing a lot of construction throughout Chicagoland and United States, actually, and out of the country as well.
Perfect.
In the last few years.
Perfect. And I know that some of those, you've had a great... I've seen many of your projects. Actually, there was one in Rogers Park, the theater. Can you go into some detail? I know you're working closely with the Pritzker family. If I can mention that, I'm sorry, but if not, it slipped. But go ahead, tell us a little bit about some of those developments.
Well, that was in the past. We've done a restoration of the Morse Theater that changed names. Now it's a main stage, and we did that a few years back. It was a complete restoration of a 1933 building, and originally it was a theater, and then it went into I believe it turned into a little shopping center, and a few years back, actually about almost 10 years ago now, 2008, we did a complete restoration, and Taj Mahal was the opening night for that theater at the time.
Really?
But it's under different management now. I don't know what they do with it now.
Okay. Well, yeah, and you mentioned that that's just one of many companies that you're working on. You're a serial entrepreneur, as I like to say. And what other sort of businesses are you working on these days?
Well, we have a few companies in the cryptocurrency. We also have a lot of experience in the cannabis industry. We run and operate facilities, cultivation facilities, and we also build the facilities for different companies in the industries. We've done work for PharmaCann and Cresco, IVIC. That's an international company out of Canada and Colombia. And we've done a lot of projects in Chicagoland and outside New York, Boston, Michigan, Canada, Colombia, over by Medellin.
Amazing, which is actually where my family is from, Medellin, Colombia. I'm headed out there on Sunday, so I look forward to stopping by some of those facilities.
Check out the cultivation facility, San Vicente.
San Vicente, perfect. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit more about now yourself. How long have you been here in Chicago?
Well, I actually been in Chicago for about 25 years. Okay. I'm Romanian. I came to the States in 1984. Studied in California, moved to California, lived there for about 11 years. Studied civil engineering at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. Then moved to Chicago in 95, end of 94, beginning of 95, and studied at DePaul, finance, business, MBA. And then I started my construction company in 2002.
That's great. And then at what point in time what were the first sort of projects you were working on at the beginning?
Actually, I started on the west side and south side.
Okay.
It was a tough beginning. We're working with the bank, South Shore Bank at the time.
Yes.
They were financing a lot of projects in the south side, west side
area
of Chicago.
Multifamily, single families?
We started with the single family projects.
Okay.
And then we moved over to buildings. That was the only bank that would
lend. It seemed like,
South Shore Bank really helped us get started, yeah.
And then from there, what sort of other projects did that snowball into?
Yeah, from there, we moved over to the West Loop. Well, that was about 12 years ago. That was started in the West Loop, right off of Monroe. Well, there's a big development there. And then,
What development was that? If you can go into detail into some of those larger
well, for me, it
developments.
was big at the time, but it's
Yeah.
not, 25, 30,000 feet. I forget, about 32,000 feet total.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, that's definitely a
Yeah,
sizable
but it was
project.
a big step because I was doing single family
Yeah.
houses and
And what
all
was
this.
that? Condos or?
That was condos,
Okay.
yes. It was the first structural steel building that I've done uh, in Chicago.
Wow.
7 stories, 6 stories.
That's amazing. And how did that project turn out? Or what were some of the challenges that you saw when you got involved, and how
Well,
did it shake out?
2008 happened.
Oh
That
shit!
was a big challenge. Shit hit the
Yeah,
fan,
the shit hit the fan, literally. Yeah.
So actually, as a matter of fact, we sold our last condo and we closed December 26th. Believe it or not, 2008. So
Wow.
we're just finishing up
Barely.
right before the shit hit the fan,
Yeah.
basically.
Barely made it. So okay. So you were able to make that exit,
Yes,
and
yes.
then after that, what sort of other projects did you kind of? What did that segue into, or what other developments did you start after that?
Well, right after that, we did a lot of stuff with the Pritzkers, uh, commercial projects, with gymnasiums. We built a big boxing gym for them up in Glenview. We did a big structure in Rogers Park, a big garage,
Wow.
a very modern looking garage. And then we jumped into the cannabis industry, specifically cultivation facilities.
I think that was in what year would you say?
Uh,
2012, 2013, I think.
the 14,
14, okay.
2014, yes.
So, I mean, that's definitely being a pioneer at the time, because I feel like now it seems to be that everyone is talking about cannabis. Um, and so you were kind of a pioneer, it seems, at that time.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we were the first investors in PharmaCann.
Wow.
So I met with the founders of PharmaCann when I started investing in PharmaCann, and we traded off my investment over. I invested money so I could build the buildings. So we struck a deal where, hey, I put money in, and then I get to design, come in with the design team and design and build your buildings throughout the country.
And can you explain to the audience about PharmaCann, their role in the cannabis space?
PharmaCann is one of the big players in the industry right now. Actually, they were bought out by MedMen.
For about how much?
About $682 million, I think.
Okay. It's a very nice
And
payday.
They built facilities throughout Chicago, Illinois. I would say Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, Michigan. No, Michigan. Ohio.
Oh, okay.
And I think Virginia now too. Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania. So they're all over the place now.
So you were there at inception.
Correct.
And so you funded the company, and in exchange for services, you had also additional equity. And go more into detail about the structure there too.
Well, our first investment was for the Chicagoland properties. So in exchange, we received the contracts to build. That was my sweat equity in the company, and it was important for the founders that we be first to market in every location they went to. That was the CEO's goal. I don't care how we get there, just get me open first. And we're able to open first in Illinois and first in New York. They were one of the 5 companies in New York.
Amazing.
And the New York facility was at the time we built the New York facility, 130,000 square feet. Was one of the largest for the medical.
Wow.
Cannabis, yes.
And after it got bought out, at what point in time did you all transition into now the new company that was formed?
Well, one of the founders left the company. I'm not going to name names.
Sure.
And he started a company out of Canada, IVEC. So he saw an international play. And not only did he go to Canada, he also went to Colombia and opened up a company, New Sierra, in Colombia.
And what do they?
He's one of the pioneers in the GMP, uh, good manufacturing products in the industry in Colombia.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, that must have been a tough hurdle to start up in a new foreign country. I mean, does anyone speak Spanish?
Well, well, actually, one of his partners was American Colombian.
Oh, okay, perfect. So,
Army vet, sniper.
wow.
Yeah.
Probably a guy you don't want to mess with, right?
No,
Probably the right guy to deal with.
Yeah, so he felt safe. Go to Colombia. Yes.
Sure, exactly. And how has that transition been? What sort of the obstacles you faced in that market? I mean, how's the local government there?
Well, they approached us for design build of both the facilities in Colombia and Canada. So that's all we did. We just did the design build. We went and hired local contractors, and we proceeded from there.
Okay. And then what are the benefits really? I mean, versus just growing a cultivation center here in the States? I mean, what were some of the biggest reasons that you'd want to set up specifically in Colombia as opposed to maybe any of the other country?
Well, Colombia is ideal for growing marijuana, cannabis. You have 12 days of sun, 12 hours of sun, 12 hours a night. That's ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost of labor is a lot cheaper than anywhere else, basically in the States.
That makes sense.
Production in Colombia is probably 1/5 to 1/7 of the cost it would be in the U.S.
Wow.
Well, the weather has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And what's the vision for IVIC? Are any other markets you all are entering at the moment?
Well, IVEC is going international. They're looking at Australia, Europe, Canada.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And are you going to be at the forefront of some of those facilities?
No, we haven't talked about it yet, but they want us to go build their facilities all over. But
it's in process.
We don't know yet.
Got it. And simultaneously, as you're running the cannabis business, what other sort of developments are you working on today?
Not developments, but with construction throughout. Yeah, okay. Commercial, residential, and we kind of mingle in the crypto business.
I was gonna, that's the next. Yeah, that was the next one I was gonna get into. So I mean, you hear that?
We were busy with that for a while. Yeah.
And how did you get involved in that? I mean,
my younger brother. My younger brothers.
I remember we went out for I think for dinner, and you mentioned that, and I said, God, this guy is he's involved in the cannabis space and the real estate, and also in the crypto. So
the high risk industries.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, where you smell opportunity, you go, right?
Yes.
So and how was the what? I know that you mentioned you went to China to kind of bring back some of those instruments needed for.
At first, yes.
Okay.
My brother mingled with the mining industry. He'd start building up some rigs himself, and then he realized that we could get a lot of this equipment out of China, very, very inexpensive.
Okay. And you started your own coin.
Well, we kind of took over a coin.
Okay.
We bought out the rights for it, and then we.
What coin is that?
Well, that was PacCoin.
PacCoin, which is crazy. I think I actually owned PacCoin.
You did?
Yeah, I had Binance on the Binance exchange. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the altcoins. Yeah, I also got involved. I'm one of the guys that unfortunately lost. It seems like every time I try to do something outside of real estate, it just doesn't work out, But I ended up going into the altcoins, and I remember seeing PacCoins. When you told me, I was like, holy smokes, freaking nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy. 2000, what was that? 2018.
What's the market cap on that?
Well, right now it's got no market. That's probably $3 million.
But at the time,
2018 when he popped, it was almost 800 million.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, explain the euphoria from getting that sort of market cap to now just seeing the drop. I mean, is there? I mean, that can like really hurt someone's
financials. Well, yeah, it was crazy. Well, every coin, just about any coin, dropped 80-90%.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and mine included.
Yeah.
So
except Bitcoin,
except
that's still going strong. Yeah, 50%. We're all-time high right now.
Do you see any upside there? You think there's going to be any growth?
I see. Yeah.
Long term, or is this just a hype?
Because the Chinese, President Xi is one of the guy that he wants to push cryptocurrency right now really hard, and that's one of the reasons that Bitcoin just popped up 20% the other day.
Yeah, it seems like obviously the economic instability of a certain country.
They're very advanced out there. Out on the Asia countries are very advanced in cryptocurrencies.
You see that maybe as a better alternative to gold now, or is gold always going to be the kind of that?
It's a good medium of exchange, and it's a fast medium of exchange. I mean, you could exchange currencies real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine if you sent a wire over in Australia or China or Colombia, how long would it take to get your wire there?
A week and a half, 2 weeks.
2-3 days, but crypto, you'll have it in
depending on
minutes.
The size. I mean, look, I made a deposit the other day at Chase Bank, and they're putting it on hold for the next 7 days.
Yeah.
So, It's
a large deposit.
Yeah, well, not always, but it's one of those things that you could definitely see the practical value in having and owning at some point in time. What about the valuations? Do you think you're hearing 20,000, 30,000, 40,000? McAfee said it's been as high as 100,000.
Or even $1 million, yeah.
Or $1 million, yeah.
He's a dreamer, I think. I don't know.
What was he smoking? He's smoking some of that. He went to one of your cannabis. No,
he did.
Well, he's smoking something, right?
Yeah.
But okay, and are you going to continue to invest more in that crypto space, or are you taking some time off that?
We took some time off of that. We took a good beating at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that definitely if you're going to get into the ring for, you're going to wait for the right opportunity. So now primarily just on the cannabis side and on the development side is what you're going to...
We still have some investments in crypto, yeah.
Okay. Now, what about... It seems like you've got a cultivation facility in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
explain the different markets.
Rhode Island's a small market, and I had some friends out there, and they said, hey, we could apply for a facility and cultivation facility, and we think we could get the license, and we applied, and we received the license, went out there and built it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a smaller facility, but it does well.
And how does that compare to the Illinois market or some of these other states?
Well, Illinois market was probably, actually, I think it's Massachusetts and Illinois, one of the first people first states that's tracing the cannabis from seed to sale.
Mm.
So they
explain that if you could for those that don't understand what the seed to sale.
Well, technically, from the time you put a plant or a seed in the ground, that plant gets recorded into a system, and it's being traced all the way to sale.
Wow.
So because of that, you're able to monitor what you grow, what you sell, and you could tax it.
So
or California and every other state out west.
So it doesn't trickle its way into the black market economy.
Exactly. And you can't get black market product into the stores either. Because everything's monitored from seed to sale.
So there was a big...
And Rhode Island follows that as well. New York does that. Well, New York came online later after Illinois. But Illinois was probably one of the first states that implemented that.
And some of the... how's the application process? Describe that a little bit. I mean, I know that's a pain in the ass.
I had nothing to do with it. I didn't do the application process. But from what I hear...
It's a rigorous...
Yeah, I think PharmaCann application was close to 8,000 pages for Illinois.
Jesus.
Yeah.
8,000.
Yes.
Now you were... I remember you telling me you were one of the first in New York?
Not me. PharmaCann was. PharmaCann was first in New York, yeah. I was part of it, yeah.
Okay, and how was that exactly? Go into detail. I remember... I recall... hearing about a big publicity stunt in order to get it accepted. It showed up in a truck or something?
Oh yeah, well the application for New York was even larger than Illinois. I think the New York application was north of 15,000 pages, and yeah, it showed up at the U-Haul, boxes and boxes of paper, and the CEO of PharmaCann, he knew how to get the media attention. Yeah.
And now, what are some of the uphill challenges you're seeing in the city? Now January 1st, recreational is legal.
Supply and demand. There'll be a lot of demand January 1st. I don't think Illinois is going to be ready. There'll be a shortage. Come February, March,
There'll be a shortage.
There'll be a shortage. Yes.
How many cultivation facilities are right now in the state?
I believe there was 21 licenses for cultivation facility in the states, but I believe only 17 were built.
And
But they're all expanding.
Okay.
They're all doubling up right now.
Oh, of course.
And I think they're coming online with only a few additional licenses. I think they only issued 5. Each cultivation, each license that they had medical cannabis for dispensaries, they could get another one, grandfather in, basically.
Okay, that makes sense.
But they only released, I think, 5 or 6 licenses, and they bring them online later, so they don't saturate the market with too many licenses, because they see there's a problem with supply and demand.
And anyone looking to open up a dispensary, have you applied so far here in the state? Is that something that you're also going to be moving on?
We're on board with another team that we're going for additional licenses.
Got it. Now, going back to Colombia,
Yes.
obviously, whatever's produced there, that stays in the South American economy, or I'm sorry, in the South American market, or specifically in Colombia? Can you do
No, actually, no. The CBD oil, if it's less than 0.3%, you could export to the States.
Okay.
The THC, no. You cannot export THC, but you could export to Canada.
Oh, you can?
You can, yes.
Okay.
So Canada will take both THC, high percentage THC, or CBD with less than 0.3%, both.
Interesting. Very interesting. And is that Colombian facility going to also supply the European market?
Yes, but there's a lot of other European markets. They like the product to be certified GMP, EU GMP.
Okay.
And it's very, very hard to get EU GMP.
What is that? Go into detail.
EU GMP is a European standard good manufacturing process, and it's very hard to get certified at that level anywhere in the world, even U.S.
So it's
Very stringent.
It's also, I assume, like a great marketing campaign to be GMP certified.
Correct.
So, okay, interesting. Now, going back now to the development and into Cordos Development, the projects that you're working on today, you've done the theaters, you've done some luxury condo development here. Go into detail about the ones that you're working on at this moment.
Well, right now we're working. We partnered up with some team at Cogent, and we're working on a mid-rise. It's called Chicago Technology Center, and that's in the West Loop. Partner up with Wired Magazine. They're going to put a hotel in there. I believe 150 rooms hotel. So we have a small partnership in there as well.
Got it. And how do you manage just the sheer size of all the different projects you're working on? What's the best way to adequately distribute your time throughout the day?
I don't know. It's long hours, long days. Stay on top of it. It's I've been doing it for so long, it just feels normal.
Just feels normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, anyone that hears this, I mean, even I'm in amazement. Uh, Now, what sort of other anyone going into the real estate field today? Is there any sort of advice that you can share with someone that's looking to get into the projects that you've gotten involved in? Is there any sort of strategies or advice that you can share with them?
Now, be aware.
Yeah,
We're approaching the bubble, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the bubble's every 15 years. That's what I would say. If you study history, that's probably every 15 years, 15 to 17 years, you have a bubble. And now we're what, almost 12 years into it.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
would say maybe another 2-3 years, the bubble's growing
Should
right
pop.
now.
Yeah,
But if you stay in the liquid market, what I call liquid, uh, in the big cities, if you stay in the Chicago downtown, West Loop, South Loop,
hmm
Wicker Park, all this, it's very liquid.
You know, I just recall one great story. There was a deal I remember receiving from a good friend of mine on Elston, and
You have to bring that up, huh?
yeah, of course, of course. These are the sort of deals that you hear about, and you wish one day you'll be able to to go after. So it got introduced to me, and they said, I think I, rem- I recall that it was how many units? I think 12,
9
9.
and 3, yeah, 12
Yeah,
units.
so like
Yeah.
it was
Not a big,
it was
yeah,
a
not.
12 unit new construction building, and they offered it was someone approached me and said, if we had a buyer for it, and I realized you were the seller on it at the time. You didn't sell
Mhm.
after all, but can you go into detail about that? I know that was one of the wildest stories that I'd heard on how you actually acquired it.
Well, I've been driving, but it was a building, it was a 4-story building.
Mhm.
And I was driving through there all the time, and it wasn't finished. It was, I believe, left in 2008, right after the war,
Mhm.
I call it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to look into it. Who owns it? What's the story with this? Then I see it was on the demolition list. So I drove downtown one day. I think it was Tuesday, and they tell me to go on auction on Friday.
Mhm.
So I had 3 days to do all the research. So, and I went down to City Hall. I mean, Cook County, and pull out all the records on it, and I see that it's already foreclosed. There's no current liens on the building. All of them were past 3, 4, 5 years. But there was a lot of debt on the building. There was a lot of debt. So when we went to the auction, there was like 3 or 4 people at the auction, and everybody was talking. And the sheriff started the auction, and literally, I just picked it up for almost nothing. I think it was like 5 cents on a dollar.
It was.
It was hard to get approved by the judge. The sale had to be approved by the judge,
Mhm.
and everybody called back the auction, the auctioneer to re-auction it, and he wanted to make a point. I guess the sheriff wanted to make a point. The auctioneer, when he starts the auction, everybody be quiet.
That's a great way to make a point.
Yeah, that was a good.
That's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane. I think we presented you an offer. You could have walked away with maybe, from where you picked it up. I think I had someone that was going to give you 600,000. You could have profited just in a matter of like, I think 30 days. You probably would have come up on 600 grand with my offer, and you said no.
Yeah.
So it was a great deal.
Well, the guys at the auction offered me 600 over it the same day.
Okay, the same day,
the
yeah,
same
and then
day,
I
yeah.
offered you as well,
Yeah.
and I said, "Come on, let's put this deal together."
Yeah. The guys, right? I told them, hey, don't be mad. I'll sell it to you.
Everything's for sale.
Yeah. So
And but you kept it. And what is that now? Did you?
we finished the building. We developed it. We finished it. We completely rented. Very successful.
So you're just gonna hold on to it? And
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we're gonna hold on.
No exit at some
Yeah,
point.
as a matter of fact, I did list it for a while because I wanted to do the first real estate transaction in crypto. And I met these guys who had a title company, and they were able to. Are we doing good on time?
yeah, making sure.
So anyway, this company was able to guarantee me at closing either dollars or Bitcoin. So I wanted to get both.
Wow.
They were able to split it. If you wanted half of the transaction to be in Bitcoin and half of it in cash, they would guarantee that at closing. And it didn't happen.
It's almost a good thing it didn't happen.
Well, yeah, actually no, because at the time Bitcoin was $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh yeah, no. So it wasn't.
Well, that's
yeah,
what happened.
I
The
mean,
Bitcoin kept dropping.
Yeah.
At the time we're talking with people, it was like eight to $10,000 of Bitcoin. It dropped to like $4,000,
yeah, I know that.
and I wished I did.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
now it's up.
it's back up at 10,000.
Yeah, close to 9,500, I think.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do is take a quick intermission. Want to thank our sponsors, Element Studios. That's Element, EL3MENT Studios.com for all of your media production needs. Feel free to visit them at their website, elementstudios.com. Thank you. We're back. So, Vince,
Go ahead.
to recap, I want to go ahead and just say thank you so much for being on the show. But is there any sort of other advice that you'd like to give anyone that's following into your footsteps, that wants to get into development business or the cannabis industry?
Partner up with people. Get out there, meet people, partner up. That's what we did. We partner up with design team. We'll partner up with founders. We'll partner up with suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people jumping into this right now, and I see this being a bubble. There's probably 80 companies that went public
Wow.
in the cannabis industry. So I would do your homework. I would do my research if I was to get into it right now. There's way too many for what's the market now? Maybe $60 billion international market,
Mm-hmm.
split between 80 companies.
And
That's Uber.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there any sort of events coming up in the marijuana or in the cannabis space that you?
Yeah, it's a big convention. I would, definitely start with the convention in Las Vegas. I think that's December the 11th. I think
You gonna be
11th,
there?
13th. Yeah, I think I want to be there. Yeah, well, I went there last year. It's you have to do it
Nice.
if you want, especially if you want to get into this industry. Probably 35,000 people attend it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on steroids.
And so it sounds like one of the biggest in the country then.
Probably in the world. I don't think there's a bigger one than that. No. There's all kinds of vendors, suppliers out of even Europe, equipment.
Huh.
Yeah.
How much money can someone looking to get started, how much money can they expect to invest getting into either the cultivation or into the dispensaries or the licensing?
You mean one facility or
Yeah, like the way
you're talking-
this. Yeah.
Well, dispensaries are running somewhere between $600,000-$700,000 all the way up to $2-3 million. Depends on the size of the dispensaries. Some of them are like specifically the ones out west are pretty big.
Mhm.
They're probably north of 15,000 square feet.
Oh.
There's a couple of large ones here in Illinois. There's one at Roosevelt, the THC Center.
Roosevelt and Western.
Roosevelt and Western.
Yeah. I
That
pass by
one's
there all
probably
the
one of the
time.
large. He's gonna do very well there. I think he's probably 15,000 feet there.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty big. That's a big facility. He's waiting for January.
Oh, yeah. There's gonna be a line outdoor.
Yeah.
And you might, if you drive by, you might actually see me. I've never been there, but I might just make my way there just to check it out.
Yeah, I went to the opening of that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He did it. He built a nice facility there. The cultivation on the other side is very. Those are large facilities, north of 30,000-40,000 feet. square feet.
Interesting.
So you're probably going to spend between $5 and $10 million.
Yeah, so definitely you're going to want to partner up with someone who knows that, there would...
And it's got to be private money, because you can't get financing for this.
Yeah, and you can't actually store any of that money at the bank either.
Yeah, there's a few banks that... No, they're relaxing. The
Okay.
feds are relaxing the banking regulations on the cannabis industry right now.
Okay, so it's not just small banks that are allowing you to...
No, a lot of credit unions did it. Yeah, credit unions did that. That's who we deal with in Rhode Island, a credit union. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, what about the money that gets out of Colombia or out of, is there an issue there bringing some of those funds for any operating expenses here in the States?
So far, there's no money coming in Colombia.
Oh, okay.
Only money going in because they're building.
Yeah.
And even that's a hard time. Getting money into Colombia is a nightmare because you got to be vetted 10 times, 20 times. They vet you and
I'm sure it's very
you.
political.
No, they want to make sure the money coming in is very clean.
Of course.
Yeah. The Colombian government, the Colombian banking industry is very, very stringent.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. Even when I've had to wire funds to family members in the past. I'm talking about even $1,000. That takes a long time to get there. So one of the other challenges that I think that you might face, but definitely there's huge upside in that market.
Mm-hmm.
So Vince Cordos, Cordos Development, serial entrepreneur, and a great friend. I want to thank you again for being on the show. And
thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing everything shape out there in Colombia. I will be there though, as I said, on Sunday. So I'd love to be able to visit that facility. So
sure,
you'll be hearing from me.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you again. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Want to thank everyone for tuning in to episode 6 of the John Gill Show. And we want to thank our sponsor, Element Studios. That's EL3MENT Studios.com. Thanks.